Hello and welcome, brothers and sisters, wonderful people. I bring you greetings uh, this evening, this morning, this afternoon, depending on where you are watching from. As you can see, we'll have a very important topic to look upon. And by the special grace of God, I also have a very special guest, a very good friend of mine, who is nice to me. So today we have a very hot topic to look upon, to watch. The extraction of federal government properties in Igbo land, a step in the right direction. I want us to discuss it because some people may be angry why things are being destroyed. And some people may also be angry, why have we not destroyed the properties? So I'm just a presenter. I am not saying it is wrong or right, but I want to allow people to air their view. There will be phone call for you to call in. Tell us what you think about it. Thank you for joining me if you have just joined now. And do us a favor, do share the video. We are going to have a phone call open for people to react and call in to share their views and probably what they think about it. I have a very special guest in the studio in the name of the person of Mazi Ezoke, which by the grace of God, we're going to be bringing him to the screen. But before then, I want to take a background information of what has been happening in Igbo land, to be precise. Yes, I know that the problem of insecurity in Nigeria is not normal thing. It's a norm. It's a normal. Patobasi, our late brother, Reverend Patobasi, thank you for that song. Honor dying Tajuranyanya is very terrible. So thank you for that song. As I begged for him to be used to sell my message. Honor dying Ojuranya. Thank you for that song. So before I bring my guest to the screen today, I want to let us know that the insecurity of Nigeria is not a norm. It's a normal thing. It's part of the Nigeria. Nigeria, if I mention Nigeria, you mention insecurity. Another name for Nigeria is insecurity. That is synonymous with Nigeria. Then, though it started in northeast, escalated to the northwest, and this has been the scenario. And some people was like, the insecurity is a kind of something that is kept for a particular region. It is not for everybody until it escalated to all the region. Now, the worst of it all is our own south. When I mean south, both the Yoruba nation and the Igbo nation, both sides are now affected with the insecurity in a very heavy way. And in that particular insecurity is what resulted from destruction of properties. As you can see, this is one of the destruction going on in the country. This is the were incidents. Some part of the country where things were burning, as you know. Now, and we are asking, do you think is a step in the right direction? Do you think we should allow it to continue, or do you think we should stop it? You have right to say what you think, your view. So I'm going to be dropping a phone call when the time comes, when what I've discussed extensively with my guest. We'll give you a chance to come in to share your own view about what we are talking about. Because as a man who is concerned with his people, if I don't get involved, I don't think who else. Then I also want to correct an impression. Most time when I make my posts, people start talking against me, attacking me. This is a news that is trending. If I try to relate it to people who are following me, for them to get acquainted with what is going on, sometimes people get it misunderstood and start attacking me. Let me give you an instance. Sowore is the owner of Sahara Reporters. When Sowore was attacked or slapped, bullied, killed, dealt with, done whatever by anybody, any federal government, Sahara Report will always report Sohore will have been killed, Sohore had been attacked, Sohore had been done this and that. Now, if Sahara Report reports such a thing, does it mean they are supporting what happened to Sohore? You forgot to know that by the grace of God, I read communication, I read linguistics and communication. Though I'm a priest, but the flair of what I read is in me. Sometimes I have to exhibit what I have read. And when such a thing is being exhibited, some people get it misunderstood that you are supporting what has happened to befallen a brother. I don't get it. It baffles me for your reasoning. That I reported something that is trending doesn't mean I am in support or against. How can somebody know this? Some people say, as a priest, why will you report this kind of news? When I reported about what was being done against Mbaka, that was why when I heard about the incident about Mbaka, I refused to report. Because if I report it, they say I'm rejoicing that he was taken away or had been recovered. I don't get it. But I always ask God to help me, and as we move on. So today we are going to discuss about this. That I'm discussing about the insecurity of the destruction of properties, federal government properties in Igbo land. Is it a step in the right direction? That I'm discussing it today doesn't mean I am supporting it or I'm against it. I'm only bringing it up for us to put and discuss about it and see how it's going to be, so that people will learn. Those who will watch this and will say, well, actually, I don't know this in this angle, because you can give me a point, say, yes, it's good, this and that. When I finish it, I say, oh, people say, I didn't even know that this is, thank God, let them go ahead. Or somebody might make a point. After making a point, wow, we are not taking the right decision. This is the reason for the discussion. So it's not for me to be against the destruction or for not to be destroyed. So please, when you are joining us, join with a very clear mind. Let's move ahead. May God bless you as you come. At this juncture, permit me to bring to the screen my very, very good friend, a man I have much respect for. We've been friends for some couple of time, and by the grace of God, he's been very, very wonderful. He's a friend indeed and a friend in need. No other person than the Mazi Ezoke, the owner of Njenje Media. Mazi, you're welcome on board, sir.
Yeah, good evening and good afternoon to you. It's evening here in this part of the world, and I believe
it's morning here.
Okay, good morning and good night to our people in Asia. It's a privilege, and I'm glad to have you. You invite me to your wonderful platform. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. God bless you, sir. Wonderful viewers, as you can see, he has just welcomed you and by telling you good evening. So do us a favor, share the video. If you're on YouTube, I want to ask this question. If you have followed me on Facebook and you have never subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? What sin did I commit that you have never done that? So with a very tiny short break, I'm surprised that somebody will be following me on Facebook. I have about 45,000 followers, more than on Facebook, but I only have 1,000 something on YouTube. So I'm asking, what sin did I commit that they don't want to follow me on YouTube? So if I didn't commit any sin, why not follow me, brother? With this short break, we'll continue with the program. Thank you.
Moral Interactive, Jovika TV, poised to reach you with the truth.
Welcome back. Thank you so much. Yeah, today, Mazi, as I said, I would like you to, when the time comes, if anybody's interested to join or to make a call, we're going to be opening the phone line for 1 or 2, 3 persons, not too much people to call. Today, we're looking at the insecurity in Nigeria, and to be precise, the insecurity started in the northeast down to northwest. Now it's all over Nigeria, and Nigeria has become every day, 1 week, one day, 1 minute, one trouble, not even 1 day. Every minute, expect a trouble, except you didn't listen. The insecurity is really golfing. And today I'm hearing that even, where it is boiling or had just boiled and ended. I have a video here sent to me where people there was a kind of shootout. I don't know how true is that, but I saw the video. So they only about they just brought this man down, this and that. So it's no longer in news that the Nigeria is synonymous with insecurity. It's no longer in news. But why I'm concerned, we are an Igbo man. I am an Igbo man. The insecurity in Igbo land is taking another diversified aspect of it all, that to the point that properties of federal government are being destroyed. Some people are of the opinion that this is a step in the right direction. Let them get out of her presence. Let them get away. They should take their stupid property away. And why some people are of the opinion, why destroying federal government properties? Why? The question has been there. So today, I want us to look into that particular thing. I want to hear your own view, sir. Do you think it's a step in the right direction? Do you think it's not something we should do? If you say it's a step in the right direction, why? If it is not, why? If you are neutral or you are sitting at the fence about it, just make your view known to the public so that we move on, and God bless you, sir. So today, but before then, it will be of interest for us to maybe a little bit talk about the recent thing that is happening. The current thing, had the news about is it mixing, kidnapping, or abducting of our revered Reverend Father Ejike Mbaka. Later on, I also heard that he has been found. Some people has reappear, different caption, reappear, found, release. No, when things happen, people give their own caption. I don't know if you are privy for this particular information, and what can you say about the incidents? Yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for welcoming me to your program. To start with, we cannot discuss the destruction of federal government infrastructure without talking about the treatment of Ndibo in the country called Nigeria. So you can't make an egg, or rather you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. That is given. Having said that, I would come back first to your last question, which is about Reverend Father Ejike Mbaka. I got to know about the news. My staffs reported it. One of them called me, said, okay, did you hear about this? I said, what? And I was told. I said, can you guys go and find out? But eventually we pitched. It happened that BBC Igbo was already on site. So if you understand how you can work with people, not necessarily depleting resources when it's not necessary. So looking at the report of BBC Igbo that was on ground, it appeared that people came to for their normal prayers, midweek prayers, and the Reverend Father was nowhere to be found. And they were being told that he was summoned by the Bishop of Enugu Diocese. And having said that, obviously, you and I would, like myself, in my program the other day, I said, I hope nothing happens to him that DSS should take note. Reason being that sadly, it has become a common denominator for Nigeria that whenever you speak, something appears to happen to you. Remember, if you recall, there was a time someone got arrested. His crime was that he named his dog the name that they argue sounded or is the same with the name of your president. Then you ask yourself, in America where you live, you know that, and sadly the dog was eventually shot. In America where you live, people give their name, their children, people give their dogs, their pets, Biden. Trump supporters, some call their dogs Trump. But in Nigeria, when you do something like that, it becomes something different. And sadly, that dog, lost its life. Why am I doing this comparison? Now, if we bring the case of Mbaka here is a man I know personally, when some of those statements were made 2-3 years ago, or even 6 years ago, I disagreed, but that's on, statements, its analysis, and saying, I do not think that this is correct. I do not think that this is the right way. But anyway, he has the right to air his views. When I only disagree is when someone says that the Spirit said X, Y, Z. And I will say, well, if the Spirit says this, who am I to argue? I will go to bed and say, okay, let's see what the Spirit says. But I can also say, without even bringing the Spirit in there, I can tell you that this is what I'm thinking based on my own commonsensical analysis, right?
Yeah.
So now because a lot has been happening, people got missing because you criticize the president or the presidency. We have many cases abound. Therefore, we have someone thrown in jail because of, I think that was in Kaduna, that he wrote something that they didn't like. So Mbaka saying this now that is so obvious, so visible to the blind and very, very audible to the deaf, that the center can no longer hold, that this, the system is so, what the Germans call kaput, that the system is totally destroyed, that the system is not working, that all the projections that they had was just nothing but a fluke. Now, in this case, people thought maybe DSS arrested them. Whoa, you don't blame the worshippers, for Christ's sake. You and I were in this country when DSS left whatever they were to do and went to the National Assembly, an independent arm of government, and did not allow the Senate president to come in then because they thought he was about decamping. You saw them masked. You and I are here when people protested in the same Abuja and the same DSS came out wielding guns. I do not blame anyone if they think that the worst has happened to Mbaka. And again, thank God, according to the information we have, that Mbaka eventually, as you said, is now visible or that he has reappeared. Let this please be a note of warning to this government that nothing shall happen to Mbaka. Even, not saying that mean now I wear my cap as Onyi, but that nothing, because that's what we stand for. We must stand for one another, that nothing shall happen to him. What he did was just basically speak his mind. Do I agree with the last things he said? Of course, yes, 1,000,000% I agree with what he said, because the government has failed. Not only that the government has failed, the government itself. Some people will say, in the words of Paul, one of these pastors will say, is a scam. On that note, I will now attempt your second question. Okay. Now, your second, or rather the first question before the second one came was, when you look at what is happening, you must honestly take a back seat. I understand that my brothers and my sisters are angry, and rightly so. Someone wrote a very fantastic piece and say, who are the unknown gunmen? And some people now call them ungunned men. Who are they?
Exactly.
If we want to know who they are people like you and I. They were supposed to be giving birth in maternity homes, on mattresses, but sadly were giving birth on a bare floor. They are children that were supposed to go to school, government providing them roof over their head for them to just sit down and learn. Sadly, someone sitting down somewhere took those monies and those things were not provided. Sure. There are men who grew up knowing nothing that we call water. I know when we are growing up in Enugu, you could never use your finger to ever stop a rushing water from the public tap in Enugu. All houses had running waters. You can smell you can perceive the smell of the chloride coming out from the tap. The water was treated. Yet in today's world, these are men that the system have failed, that they do not have potable water to drink. Everyone is drilling borehole as if we're all run mad, that there is no tomorrow. These are children that could not afford to go to secondary school, universities. And these are men, women, you've given keke and okada, motorcycle as empowerment, whatever items. Yet, in one breath, you took or banned those means of transportations and left them to wallow. These are men, when they just say, no, we are angry. Please, can somebody speak to us? We are not demanding an arm and a leg. We are just saying, can someone speak to us? In anger, we are raising a flag to say, we are angry, rather than ask them, like you do ask every other people, what is wrong? I'm your son. I'm your father. Let us have a conversation as son and father. Rather than do that, you send your military men to go where a people converge just to pray. In Aba, February 16th, 2016. And someone took on a bended knee, cocked that gun, and fired that bullet. Some men, some children, eventually hurt. Those that you couldn't take away at that moment. You went out and you took them. Owerri, Aba Road. You tied their hands behind their backs. You shot them at close range. And those that didn't die, you poured acid on them. You set them ablaze. And they're all dead. Now, you think that is not enough, and these men bared all this, and they came back at some point when SARS was killing every single one of them. For Christ's sake, it's not a crime to study with a laptop. That is what modernity brings about. Children no longer write with notebooks. They have their tablets. That's what they write with. They have their mobile phones where they can cater their data, hotspot with that in order to access the internet, to do their assignments. You stop them. You call them Yahoo Yahoo. If they argue and ask, I have human rights, you shoot them. And they all converged all over the country, sang, danced, just say, please, we want to leave. We cannot breathe. Allow us to leave. Take your leg off our neck. What did you happen? What eventually happened? On the 28th of October, 2020, you shot them where they converged in Lekki. We are told no one died. But we saw corpses. There were reports of corpses, yet no one died. The Lagos State Coroner, Chief Coroner, issued a newspaper advertorial saying that within this date, 15th of October till 22nd of October, there are bodies in Ikeja. People should come and claim those bodies. I personally interviewed people who took part, who said, Mazi, our lives are in danger. I cannot longer speak. In January 2021, I was in Lagos. I visited one of them, sat down with this young lady from Anambra, by the way, and she told me horrible stories, but said, I do not want that story to go out because I have my livelihood. I have my life before me. I do not want to die. Those stories that she told me probably will go with me in my grave, or at some point might be written. You ask yourself, in all this, what is it that the government is doing? Yet it is the right of the young ones to get angry. Of course, they have the right to get angry, and rightfully so. But however, my brothers and my sisters, I beg of us, in our anger, we cannot shoot ourselves. Because I have disagreement with you, because you do not treat me right, does not mean that after my argument with you, I will go home and I'll burn my own house. That is akin to committing suicide. The anger is there. Is the anger justified? Of course, yes. Do you have any right to be angry? Has the nation failed you? Of course, yes, the nation has failed you. But in all this, I do not subscribe to the notion that we must burn down the house. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I do not subscribe that we must burn down the house. That's his own opinion. But I want to ask this question, since you don't subscribe to the burning down of the house. Wonderful viewers, in a couple of minutes, I'll be giving you the phone number to call in. If you're interested to make your own input, it's a very free word and free to say your view. But I want to ask you a question, sir. Recently, Anambra Airport was declared open in a nutshell. Let's say it has been declared open, even though the report we're here.
Sorry, your connection is breaking. Sorry. What?
Okay, can you get me clearer now? Is it okay? Can you hear me now? I don't know if I have an internet problem.
Try your question again. Your connection was a little bit muted.
Wow. Okay. What is the problem then?
Go ahead.
Okay. Recently,
go ahead now.
Anambra Airport was declared open. After the declaration of open, we heard that it is not yet completed. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
All I heard that Anambra Airport was declared open.
Okay.
You're back on now. Go ahead.
Okay. So after the opening of the airport, we heard from the news that it is not yet completed. But that's by the way. But prior to the opening of Anambra Airport, we heard that an application was made to, because the original blueprint of the airport was that it's going to be an international airport. But unfortunately, federal government denied that particular application and refused to grant it an international status. Meanwhile, most of the airports in the north are almost international. If you think we're supposed to have a seaport in the south, we have it already, but it has been declared moribund by the federal government. It's useless. They have to open a new one that can still be of a help. The federal government is not doing anything about it. And it's like, if you check all the roads leading to the federal, most of the federal roads in the south and southeast, in the south generally, most of them are nothing to write home about. Now, the same government that have denied these particular people these basic amenities, just like as you said in your introduction, the same federal government that have never thought good for this particular nation now have the presence of most of these things. And what is it? A prison. What are they destroying? Prison yard, police station, low standard police station of something. I had one of my cars was towed in this city here. I was given I called 911 immediately when I woke up. They told me it's a police department. When I got there, I was asking if this is a police department or an office, exclusive office. We're beautified, but go and look at our own police station in Nigeria. So these structures, and some of them are shanties. Don't you think it is somehow justified for these guys to remove this trash? According to them, they are bringing to Igbo land. And to remove these people who doesn't want us to have an international airport, international seaport. Don't you think they are somehow justified to destroy most of this trash they are bringing to us in the name of federal government presence? They will only bring prison, bring police station, mortuary. That's the thing they would think for us. Destruction, destruction. Don't you think they are just somehow justified to destroy most of these structures so that we can have our peace? That's the first question before I take you to the second one. Your reaction, sir.
You know, I hope you can hear me well, because it is sadly very, very. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Sadly, your connection, I don't know, those watching, you can confirm if you understood the questions that he asked. Because the internet was really, really, bad while those questions came.
Okay.
However, I think I was able to garner sort of what. Okay, hold on. I think it's, if you can hear me now, I think I was able to garner what you. No, hold on. I'm attempting. I think I was able to garner what you were saying. First, you asked about the Anambra Airport. Why was it, after reopening and it was closed again or something like that? But let me correct an impression here.
No. That's
Anambra
not what I mean.
Airport.
That's not what I mean, sir. We are really having some internet problem. The internet is
okay.
Really
sorry, come again.
So what I mean that. Oh my God. Hello, wonderful guys. Please, our viewers, are you seeing us? Are you noticing the hitches we're having here? Hello. Oh my God. The internet is not really friendly. Hello, guys. Can you guys watch? What is your view?
Are you? Can you switch? Can you switch to your LAN if possible? If your Wi-Fi is giving problem, can you switch to your LAN if it's possible?
My LAN?
No, LAN, LAN. That's your cable. Anyway, I don't know how if it's plugged in, but it's fine. Or I don't know.
Oh my God! I use Wi-Fi here, and Wi-Fi has no cable. What is happening? Oh, or do we end and start all over?
Okay.
Eh?
No. It's fine. Go ahead. It's fine. Go ahead. It does happen sometimes.
Okay.
Let me quickly.
Get me understood. I want you to understand what I'm saying. The question is not about the airport. The question is not about the airport at all. But I only made emphasis on airport. I said the blueprint of that airport was of international status. Is that correct?
Well, you see, and that is an impression I want to correct.
Okay, go ahead.
The airport itself, again, if we understand the politics of airport, I think I've dealt with that on my channel. If you understand the politics of airports, without, I've made videos about that airport before that the government didn't like, but who cares? All I do is to dish out the truth. So whoever doesn't like, go do one. Now, the airport was originally, and it hasn't changed, it's Umueri International Cargo Airport. What it means, that cargo can come from China that cargo can come from England, USA, and anywhere and land in Anambra. That is an international cargo airport. Cargo airport. The argument that, in my understanding, that they put up when they were requesting for the licensing of that place was of the oil company called, which is partly owned by the state, called Orient Petroleum, right? So that the argument was, okay, that flights will come in, they can now refuel from that place and go out. So that was the argument. Now, the part that people now started saying, oh, it was rejected, blah, 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 that one is fake news. It never happened, because as we speak today, they have the approval to build an airport. Now, to give you the license of operation, there are tests that will be done by FAN, by NCAA. So there are regulatory agencies that ought to do these tests. Once these tests are passed, example is the runway. When they come in, they do the runway testing, what they call the runway calibrations. When that is calibrated and you are issued a license, you talk about structural, blah, blah, blah. So those things are by stages. No one is talking about any license at this point until things are finished, tested, then you can now talk about licensing. What we do, however, have is, yes, Anambra State was given the approval to build an international airport. Now, between you and I, if you build a very good airport or a very good runway, which Anambra State has done, 1 kilometer each side, 1 kilometer racer each side, 3.7 runway, the plane coming from both sides, 08, and it means that it meets certain standard for international or for even A380, the biggest aircraft to landing. It means that when you get to the stage of now saying you're going to get the license becomes easier. At that point, it's not yet Uhuru. At that point of getting license, that's when you and I, as people who analyze event, must be very watchful. That's when we now know, because honestly, I tell people, this is not, these are in stages. Now, my concern is to ensure that I hold my state accountable, that they do the right thing. When it gets to the point of approval, we now ensure, once the state has done everything right, and they now say they cannot approve it, that's when you and I will begin to, we will do Vuvuzela. We will now begin to shout. Do you understand? So for now, there is no need for us to really worry. I mean, that's that one. And in order to get these clarifications, I did invite the Commissioner of Anambra State, and I spoke to him. We had back channel communications as regards to what is actually happening. I mean, that's why I can say the much I know. Now, coming to the infrastructure you're talking about, of course, when we talk about federal infrastructure, the federal infrastructure are anchored on the exclusive list. If you look at the items in the exclusive list, and these are the things the federal government can build, they can decide to cite them. The federal universities, maybe the prison, especially if you finish the airport, for instance, they would send in, if it becomes an international airport, they will now send in the customs and the immigrations. So these are things that, I mean, let's not mix it, no emotion here, but it's a simple understanding of what is happening, okay? But having said all this, because what your question is basically picking back on the destruction of federal institutions. Again, I maintain, in as much as the policing system is totally, I mean, you drive from Lagos, you come down to the east. I'll give people this example. I leave Port Harcourt International Airport, heading down to Anambra. I'm going to go through Bayelsa, and Elele to Owerri, and Olu be heading into Akokwa.
Okay.
If you leave Imo State heading towards Elele, you will basically be driving like this. You will be looking at the next police stop, right? It's just like maybe 2-3 poles, without exaggeration. 2-3 poles, electric poles. You look at it, it comes down. At some point, what I did was actually to use my driver's license and put it on top of my dashboard, way out there, because it's not about the driver's license. It's about, Oga, son, they hit us now. We won't drink pure water or whatever. That's what it's all about. However, when I complained that this is absolutely madness, why is it so many of them here? If you're driving to Port Harcourt Airport, and there are so many of them. My cousin, who lives in Bayelsa, uses that road almost on a weekly or bi-weekly basis to head home or head to Owerri, told me that if these men leave that place, that they normally, pick people like, the way car, just come, boom, that's it. Somebody is gone. And he told me tales and stories of how his colleagues have been taken, and even some of their company managers on their way to Owerri on that road has been taken. Therefore, it's, again, it leads to having those checkpoints. However, if one wants to argue, one can now say, why would we have a checkpoint? Why don't you have patrol vans? And that's what sensible people do, sensible nations do. Rather than sticking in one place, they should patrol with radio, knowing when to go and do what they have to do. Having said that,
a reaction so that
we destroy...
you round up with this. Excuse me, sir. You just talked about the checking point, kind of why the checking points are there. But I want to ask you, why don't we still have it the same checking point from 3 posts to another, 3 posts to another, thereabout? Why is it not also the same thing in the northern part of the country? Why is it so? Why in the south?
Exactly. Now, there is one thing you must understand as Onyibo. The 1966, after the 1966 coup, 67 to 1970 war has not ended in the minds of certain people within this nation.
Okay.
Okay. So the peculiarity of the Igbo nation, I just told you, if we argue and these policemen get out of this axis that I tell you of, the people that are going to come and pick people like Ebe, they are not ghosts. They are people that understand the terrain and are, in most cases, local to that terrain. But does it justify the amount of, I don't know, if you've ever driven from Lagos down to the east, any stop, they stop you, open your boot, do this, you get foreign rice, you do this. But yet, this foreign rice, how did it come into Nigeria? How is it that when someone going to the east buys it, it becomes an issue? But no one talks about how this, quote unquote, foreign rice still comes into the nation. I drive from, or rather, I use the bus, go from Uborafo to Taraba or to Yola. You can drive, I can bet you can drive for like 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers. You have not seen, not a single custom, not a single police checkpoint. Is our checkpoint, I don't know. There is no other way to say than to say that it is really uncalled for. The amount of checkpoints, again, it's condemnable and should be vacated from the roads. Rather, let them do patrol. But should the police stations be destroyed? I do not think the answer is yes. I do not think, honestly. Because, the challenge we have is if you are on the way, you encounter a policeman that have treated you wrong. There is always a way to go get justice. But if you're on the way and criminals stop you, waylay you, there is no way you can get justice. That's given.
But the criminals are
we have seen people
despite the presence of the police on the road.
On their way. Sorry?
The armed robbers, the criminals are still operating despite the presence of the police on the road. That's why they check a point. In fact, in some cases, I've one time I've been there was a bullion van that
sometimes they might do a apotheke. Yeah?
Fine. So what's the sense of keeping them? Do you understand what I mean? Hello? Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So
no, you're asking, you're asking what's the essence of
yes.
Yeah, you're asking about the essence of keeping them. Now, has it ever occurred to you? Why is it that anytime you have an IG of police, one of the first things they do say that they've disbanded roadblocks?
Thank you.
But no one goes back to say, were these roadblocks actually removed? The answer is emphatically no, because these roadblocks eventually are still there. The truth here is very simple. People are there to make money. I was once told that people pay to come down to the East because they know an average Easterner is always in a hurry and will be, instead of going to station, they will obtain them. Of course, these things are known. These things are known.
So that this is an interactive session. At this juncture, I want to ask anybody who is interested in calling in to call in. As I throw this last question on him, you can call in. If I'm going to drop the number as he is responding to the question, I'll be dropping the number. If you want to ask any question, I'm sorry, or you want to contribute to the topic in discussion, you are very much free. Yes, sir.
Reverend here. Yes, there is this guy on Facebook. He asked, yes, there is this guy on Facebook, Justice Chimezie. He asked a question. He said, are you trying to say that the police should leave the Owerri? Okay. Can you, not that one, I think the one is, okay, that road. I think this boy, the man or whoever, this is Justice Chimezie, I think he has an idea of that road. I do not think anyone who has experienced that road, it delays my journey. Honestly, I would want to drive, in an ideal world, which does not exist. I would want to drive, if I live over, just drive non-stop. But equally, rather than fall into the hands of kidnappers, is it not better to get stopped 2-3 times? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because I give an example. When my parents-in-law were kidnapped in Anambra State, and again they were asked. This happened between Nokwa and between Ibuku and Obeledu, if I'm not mistaken, and they were asked to go to Ogidi police station to report. Now, on their way, I think they met at another police point at Nobi and reported to those guys. Those guys were able to radio Ogidi. Okay, the question now is, so that means they would have, at that point of the night, started driving down to Ogidi. But they were able to report to a team that was there. Sadly, and funny enough, after reporting, the police were there. their car that was taken, and sadly my father-in-law now was in the, they put him at the back seat, sat on him. The car that they were driving on were virtually left almost where those same police people were, and they were the people that found the car after reporting to the police. So we found the car, and now the police, now when they went back to the police, oh, actually we have now seen, I've seen my car down there, but my husband is not there, meaning they've taken away the husband, now ringing for me to bring money. But the police now said what? Oh, it's good. Don't take the car home. Drive the car to Ogidi and go and report. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay.
But I think obviously we need some level of, this is still a third world country. We need some level of security on the way, please. We need some level of security on the way.
That is your own opinion, and you are very much entitled to your opinion. I'm only trying for us to analyze and also talk about the reason why they think those roadblocks has to be removed. I'm only asking, these are the reasons behind why they're doing, and you also give a reason why they should be there. But if whatever that has an advantage also had disadvantage. That is the truth of the matter. Now, if you check, we have to compare within the advantages and disadvantages. I've seen witness most time the same road. We have police, they are still operating. I know how many times I've parked my car waiting for this armed robber to leave. Meanwhile, we just passed a checking point. As we just call them, say, look, guys, now these guys are in front of us. And that's what they do every time. They don't mind these stupid boys. They just stupid boys. They are still stopping vehicle. Some of them will just stand with us with gun. And we're standing helpless. They're also standing with gun, helpless, waiting for the armed robber to finish on the same Port Harcourt road. On the same Port Harcourt road, they'll be standing there waiting for the road to be clear for them to go. So when we see all these things, why is the essence of keeping them? That's people keep asking the question. At this juncture, wonderful listeners, you are free to make a call if you think you want to drop your call. The phone line is free for you now. You want to contribute, you want to ask questions, just like Chimeze, who has been spotted, you are asking questions. Are you trying to say that the police should leave Port Harcourt or Owerri Road or whatever? My brother, I am just a presenter here and making some analysis. The people who say they don't want the roadblock, they have reasons, and these are the reasons I'm putting, because none of them is here to tell them. So I'm speaking for them who want the roadblock to be removed. I am speaking on their behalf. They want it to be removed based on these particular irregularities. And number two reason, that we need a standard way, like he said. We need what do you call it? Patrol vehicle. Why not use a patrol vehicle? And you don't want to use the standard. And the same roadblock we have here, we don't find them in the north. And we have banditries in the north. Why don't we have the same roadblock there? Why don't we have? When we talk about banditry, it's not part of the north. Look at what I can remember 2 years ago when this young man was arrested. Sorry, not this particular one. The other video. Okay, that video is not here. A guy was arrested, Fulani guy, fully armed with AK-47. Look at kidnapping going on every day in that particular in that particular country. Every time we experiencing this kind of robbery, and yet we don't have such police blockage over there. It's not there. It's only in the south. And one would think, if it is something good, they don't always bring something good to the south. They don't always put anything good to the south. So these guys got angry and said, let it go, get out, let them destroy it. So, well, in a nutshell, it's not the best thing to do, but it is being done. And what can we do about it? It's only God that will help us in this situation. Then finally, Mazen Zuka said, well, for anybody who is interested to call in, It's to just the question I want you to react on. For me personally, the prison that was recently the jailbreak that we had in Owerri, for me, somehow is somehow justifiable. Why do I say so? I've been to prison on a visit. Most people you find there are innocent of the crime. Most people, if I let me say 30% of those in prison are just mere accusation. Some are just somebody said, I will deal with you. I will tell you that I'm connected. The guy is there. Some are just because a friend did something. They suspect that you are a friend of this, therefore you have to be in the prison with him. Series of cases. Some are just because they stole something that is. There was a case of what do you call it, motorcycle. Somebody stole a motorcycle, and that was why he's in prison. Many of this nature, these are the crimes they committed. But people eating and killing us. We saw a video of a guy who took billions of dollars of Nigeria. When he was being taken to the court, he took shower, took bed, rubbed his cream. I watched the video. But when he got to his car, crutches appeared from his nowhere. Somebody that walked himself to his car, stepped down case, jumped down from the staircase. Immediately he's in the court premises. He was coming out, people were holding him, and he was shaking. We have seen series of people, they are in the court, they say they are collapsed, they have an attack, from nowhere they collapse. And that's the end of their cases. They don't go to prison. Just because you frustrated somebody and put him in prison, he lead him into stealing, misbehaving, you put him in prison. And this guy said, no, we can't allow these people to remain there and get the jail broke. So if Nigeria can also imprison every criminal, I would justify the action of putting all those guys, those minor things. I would justify them. But if there are people who are in a secluded list, as they will always say secluded list, okay, I don't think there's anything wrong in jailbreak. What have you to say in this my assertion?
Well, being honest here, I don't think we can, because there appear to be injustice, then we go overboard and destroy everything. I'll give you an example.
Can we have this caller, sir? That's a caller here, sir. Let's hear
organization.
Hello, caller, may we meet you? Yeah, and good morning from here. Thank you. Go ahead. Your name and where you're calling from.
Okay. Yeah, I'm calling from Malaysia.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Reverend, please, you see, the Northerners, they can pamper their own criminals, but we're not supposed to pamper our own, because it will affect us. The level of insecurity in Igbo land is becoming too much. Especially kidnapping. If you go to Onitsha by foot, maybe afternoon time, boys will snatch your phone, they will snatch your bag. So we can't just, because of the North are pampering their own criminals and we start pampering our own. It's not advisable. Many people cannot come back home now because of insecurity. And it is only a criminal that we see a police officer at the checkpoint and start panicking.
Okay.
I cannot see a police officer at the checkpoint and I will start panicking. No. So it is only a criminal and those who are doing illegal business, especially drug addicts, all these people who sell drugs.
Okay.
Whenever they see police officers on duty, they will start panicking.
Okay.
If your hands are clean, you don't have to panic when you see police officers.
Okay.
So those people that is lamenting, destroying police officers, vehicles, and burning their station, they are all criminals.
Okay.
They are not doing that thing for the betterment of the Igbos.
Okay. Okay.
They are just criminals. So I have been to Igboland I grew up in Igboland, so I know everything.
Okay.
Most of them are cultists.
Okay. Okay. You made a before I allow you to go. You said that if they are pampering their criminals in the north, we should not pamper our own in the south. But you say that we are one Nigeria. Why are they pampering and they refuse to pamper? We should not pamper this. Why that pampering in the north? Why? And we are in the same country.
Okay. They are pampering it at their own detriment. It will affect them. Boko Haram is not killing people in Igboland.
Yeah? You say?
But Boko Haram are not killing people in Igboland.
Uh-huh.
They are killing people in the north.
Yes.
So are we the ones suffering it or are they the ones suffering it?
We have our brothers there. They are suffering it too. Our brothers who are there are suffering it.
Hello?
Our brothers who are in the north are suffering it. The Boko Haram attack. Our churches there are suffering it. Our people there, Christians there, are suffering it. So if there is an destruction, you put my roadblock against a crime because of crime in the south. Do the same thing in the north. That is my own thinking.
Then, Reverend, who told you that Boko Haram members are not being killed? They are not being killed. They are also killing them.
But many of them are being recruited in the Nigerian army afterwards. Is that correct?
Reverend, I don't believe in propaganda on Facebook. Okay?
Oga, I have from a reliable source. I know that many Boko Haram are reintegrated into Nigerian army and police. This is not propaganda. It's a clear news.
They are being reintegrated into the society.
Into Nigeria police, custom. Some are being taken abroad for study.
How can you, most of all these people are saying that are illiterate, so how can you integrate them into Nigerian custom? I don't believe so.
They are doing it, sir. My brother, they are doing it. You don't believe doesn't mean it's not working. You have right to believe or not to believe. But that they don't believe doesn't mean it's not there. They are doing it. Let me ask my brother Israel. Thank you for your contribution. God bless you. Let me ask our guest if he knows, he has an idea of what I'm just saying. Thank you. Hello, sir. Yeah, you heard what I just asked him. He said that they not decide to be pampering their own criminals, and we can't do that. That's why we must allow the presence of police in the east as never before. He had a question I asked him. Why that particular segregation? And you claim that we are in the same country. This place, they do it here, you leave them. They do say they leave them. Why is this so? So what have you to say? I told him why we are this argument that most of these guys are reintegrated to the Nigerian army. Recently had the bombing of aircraft, Air Force bombing the soldiers on the floor. Recently, if you take very good investigation over that case, you will discover that the people that were killed most of them are Satanists. And those who bombed that could be those people part of those people that were integrated into Nigerian army or police or whatever, Air Force. What do I have to say? Am I just blabbing? Am I saying the truth or lies? Go ahead, sir. Hello? Oh, wait. I need to.
That someone.
Repeat yourself. You were muted. Just repeat yourself, sir.
Okay. So sorry about that. Now, what I was saying is, should we, because I've always argued, should we, because others have bandits, then we'll create bandits? I think enough, without entirely agreeing with the last caller, but there are some salient points he made. Maybe probably didn't put it properly in the proper perspective.
Contest, okay.
We cannot, because others have bandits, then we'll create bandits in order to make a point. In Igbo, we say that na ejuna na asunyu oku na na agbanyu oku na okwa na onwe ka ọ na-eme. We can't. Now, what else can, looking at the whole thing, you talked about people being rehabilitated. Of
Yes.
course, everybody knows. We've read that from the pages of newspaper. How they call them repentant Boko Haram. Even one of the army generals came on air and said, if you repent, you stand a chance of becoming Nigerian president. I think I still have that video.
Exactly. I think
so. It's a video clip. So we saw when after repenting, they will go and sew uniform for them. Say they are sending them to scholarship abroad. We saw how they are being rehabilitated. But question is, if they created a monster that is now dealing with them today in form of the criminality, that doesn't mean we must toe that line of creating our own monster in order to eventually seek for pardon or any other thing. However, the law of self-defense is a natural law. You're in your house, somebody invades your space. Of course, it is within your right to use, according to Malcolm X, defend yourself by any means necessary. But one thing I will not, tell us to do is to be the aggressors. But within our space, no one, anyone who invades us, anyone who comes within our space to do anything that is not within the ambit of the law, of course, we should and we have that right to defend ourselves and ensure that that person is taught a lesson that he or she will never forget. So arguing about if there was any time people were repented or they were accommodated, the only thing the army did, I must put a caveat, however, the only thing the army did was army came out to deny. After their denial, do I know? I don't know the other details, but I remember that army came out to deny that they were not recruiting repentant Boko Haram. But the ones, and we saw the pictures, we saw them in white, that they were, being rehabilitated, they were being trained, and whatnot. However, we saw the head of the bandits that kidnapped I think, was it the Kaduna girl, the Zamfara school children. Ransom was paid to him. We read last week, over the weekend, we read that he's now gone back to business. So does that mean that the money that they were paid as ransom, he did not get the share? Because this is an industry. This is a kidnapping industry. My argument, however, is because they have created an industry, an evil industry that will do them no good. We saw how Northeast started. Does not mean that we have to emulate them as well. That's my point.
Okay.
Just like when you were talking with the caller, if your neighbor, if your neighbor's child go to school, come back home, stealing somebody's math set and pencils and rulers, you mustn't now come back and say, oh, because the mom or the dad does nothing. When he comes back with that, then you encourage your son or your daughter to go to school and start stealing and bringing it back home. I don't think, and I will not be a party to that. That's the angle I'm coming from.
Okay, thank you very much. We are coming to a close. I just have one question for you, and we close for the day because I intended to have it 1 hour. I have another engagement, but we have to take a very short time break. As we come back, I give you that last question, or let me give you the question so that when you come back, let's take the break, and I want to give you the question.
Moral Interactive, Jovika TV, poised to reach you with the truth.
Welcome back, wonderful viewers. The last question is, what do you call it? You had recently the federal government, for the very first time, seeking for intervention of America over the insecurity incidents in the country. If they have done it previously, it was not elaborated the way they did. But this insecurity has been a norm for more than 5 years or 6 years. More than 6 years in Nigeria, in the northeast, now southwest, killings have been going on, kidnapping still going on. They've never openly called America to come to the rescue, but it was when it's happening in the west, the south, sorry, they now started calling for foreign intervention. I want to ask, don't you think that call is just a way to come and destroy this particular Sultanate that are trying to fuel up insecurity? Just to call this international body to come and crush these people, but their own people, they want to save them. Don't you think so? This is a live question because we're going to still have you again, so that we'll go for the day. Thank you.
No, I do not. I do not think I do not think the issue was situated very right. I do not, for one second, believe that the government is bringing in, or rather asking the Americans to come in because we have insecurity in the Southeast. No. Again, if you understand the AFRICOM properly, what AFRICOM is going to do is not to come into Nigeria and give them put boots on the ground. They're not going to do that. Mm-hmm. It's it's just like having a military base within the African continent, as the French have with some of their ex-colonies. Okay. Now, if we remove our mind from, okay, they're just going to bring it in order to deal with us, it is more of a strategic partnership that has to deal with gathering intelligence from within the African context, within the African continent, dealing with that intelligence, and at the same time, working with you. One thing that we actually need to do before we ever either oppose or accept, the Americans haven't accepted anyway, is to go back and listen to what, the arguments, the African Union, the ECOWAS, even the former president, because it didn't start today, it happened under Obasanjo, who probably understood international relationship more than Buhari himself, or more than this government, because Obasanjo was more a cosmopolitan human being than what we have today, who is invariably someone who has caged himself, cannot move. These days I call him the Oracle. When people go to the Oracle, they say, Oracle, he say, Oracle say you bring two cartons of dowries. I say, Oracle said you should bring 1 keg of palm wine. That's what we have reduced governance to. So having said that, the issue we have is, if you want to solve the security issue, is about securing your border, surveillance, area surveillance. If not, it must bother the president, because all the kidnapping we're talking about, actually, apart from individual kidnapping that happens in the Southeast, we have not had any case of 10 kids kidnapped. The only time it happened was, I think, in 2000, under the time of T.A. Orji, around 2010 or 2011, in Aba, done by one of our brothers late, called Osisi Kanku. But again, in that Igbo spirit, Osisi Kanku touched the lion tail by touching the children. And the moment that happened, he never survived from that incident. He was dealt with, he was rattled out. That is how the Igbo nation deals with issues. Therefore, if other people train their children to become bandits, train them to go kidnap 300 children, and they negotiate for ransom, in 10 million years, I would never advocate that our children must engage in that in order to also negotiate. No, that is pure insanity. It does not make any sense. And no sane person should actually advocate for that, because what we should be advocating is stop the ransom payment, secure the borders, put up the area monitoring of your country, And in cases where you see movements that are suspicious, send in the land troop to go intercept whatever is happening. However, it appears that the current government and the handlers of the government are so incompetent that we always discuss about issues on the periphery without actually looking at the real issue. The real issue we have here, honestly, without being emotional about it, is more of a national security. We have arms coming in unfiltered from Libya through Mali and all these places. These are where the real issues are. Nigeria today is no longer fighting only Boko Haram. Let's not make a mistake about it. Nigeria is fighting Boko Haram. Nigeria is fighting Ansaru. Nigeria is fighting ISWAP. Nigeria is fighting ISIS. And you now talk about the headsmen and bandits. How can a nation be fighting 6 monsters? And it's so simplistic for many people to basically think, oh, yes, it's the same. No, they are not. They are very distinct and they are all different. And the approaches to them must, that's why you see sometimes they will say, oh, Boko Haram kidnapped people. Another person said, no, it's not Boko Haram. We did not kidnap them. It is the bandit. You see that? So it gives you the idea that these are very distinct problems that will, but at the end of the day, the moment we're not able to, really look into these and unpack them, we'll make that mistake of pushing them together. Like what we have in the Southeast is we have the problems we have in the Southeast are the issues of herdsmen. And these issues of herdsmen are not the herdsmen that you and I grew up with. Are not herdsmen that when I remember in Nansma, you want to eat okwa, you want to eat inchi. These are people where they will come when they are grazing, they will sell these things. Sometimes they give them away at almost next to nothing. These are not the problem. The problem are the foreign herdsmen who are coming in with the view of resettling and uprooting the local demography. That is what we are battling with. So if we situate that, therefore, you find out that sometimes the ones we should be, we kind of say, oh, they are the monsters are not. It's just that sometimes in a time of emotions, critical thinking takes a flight, that no one really sits back to strategically think about what is happening. And if we do, we will begin to get a grip on what is happening. Thank you very much, my brother, for having me.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. You've really extensively explained or expatiated on this particular topic, and you have aired your view without any fear of favor. That's one of the things I like about you. You don't, because of people's thinking, you're trying to kill your spirit man, and that is what I don't do. In fact, that's one of the reasons I'm trying to hold myself to restrict myself from some broadcast, because if I must broadcast on that, I must say it the way I feel, so that my conscience will be free and satisfied. But if I can broadcast with restriction, I better forget about talking about it. And that's one thing I discovered about you. You just said it the way you think, and that's your view, and that's your mind. You are entitled to it. Oh, wonderful viewers.
I might be wrong, but again, that's what I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Thank you very much for having me.
God bless you, sir. God bless you. My wonderful viewers and listeners, thank you for being with us in this program. At this juncture, we want to call it a quit. I thank the last caller, the only caller we had today. We appreciate you. We thank all the people that viewed. We viewed this thing up to 70-something viewers. I appreciate you for being there for us. This juncture, we want to call it a quit and draw the curtain here. We are going to be back by next week. I'm going to be having a very special guest, a Nollywood veteran, who is now preaching the word of God, the gospel, in a very special way, in the name of Joy Ejire. Please, that program is something you don't ever try to miss it, because this lady is loaded. She had an encounter, somebody who has acted movie to the point of going to porn, trying to move into porn movie, and Christ arrested him, and she came back. You need to hear her story. So do me a favor, join me that particular day. Let's have a very wonderful program. God bless you for being with us in this program. My name is Joe Vicar. I broadcast from Joe Vicar TV. Thank you and God bless you. Do us a favor, share the video, subscribe to our YouTube.
Joe Vicar TV. We are the best, we bring it prompt information. And breaking news, we bring it sports, entertainment, super educative, so fantastic, moral interactive. Joe Vicar TV.
Just keep on watching
Joe Vicar TV.
You better subscribe to
Joe Vicar TV.
for news and information.
Joe Vicar TV.
For sports and education.
Joe Vicar TV.
We are reaching out to people.
Joe Vicar TV.
Entertainment and morality.
Joe Vicar TV.
Spreading love and unity.
Joe Vicar TV.
You better keep watching
Joe Vicar TV.
and you better subscribe to
Joe Vicar TV. We are the best, we bring it prompt information.